Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're just going to continue with the Mega Charizard X team we've been featuring throughout the week, which has been pretty fun to use, and let's see if we can climb up a bit more and pick up 2 wins in today's episode. Now, unfortunately, while I was playing last night off screen, I actually ran into 3 disconnections in a row. Wi-Fi was pretty spotty in general because of a storm that was in the area, and then they also had a random update for like version 1.4 for the patch. And they went through maintenance, so that disconnected me and booted me off, so I lost a lot of points as a result. Tried to climb back up, so I think right now I'm just over the 1700, so for those wondering, that's why the rating is a bit low, but, you know, we'll just see how high we can really climb up, as at this point it's more about just trying to learn with the team. Though I would like to make that push, as each episode it seems like I say that more and more, but currently sitting at a rating of 1719. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. Just takes a quick second, I'd really appreciate it. In addition, we actually reached over 32,000 subscribers on this channel earlier today, which is really awesome. You know, it's not like any huge number like 35k or 40k or whatnot, but still I'd like to thank you guys for supporting the channel and all the content that's been coming out. And I'm planning some big things for the future. Right now I'm just trying to work out my schedule. You know, high school is almost ending as well, so I'm just taking in these last few weeks and months and whatnot, or just the last month. So we find PM King from Japan with a rating of 1800 exactly. Nice number there. He's got a team of Kangaskhan, Suicune, Sableye, Rotom Heat, Landorus T, and Sylveon. So other than the Sableye, pretty standard looking team. The Sableye is really interesting though. It's not really had any notable finishes in VGC 2015, but it's always been a pretty decent Pokemon. Every year a couple of players make it work, and of course with Prankster it's just solid in general. Let's see. As for matchup here, I mean Charizard X does pretty decently, especially with Clefairy redirection, but I think one issue that a lot of you guys also pointed out in the comments is, you know, Charizard X just doesn't do enough before it goes down, so, you know, I am just baited into leading Charizard and Clefairy, and I'm not sure if that's honestly the best way to go about it. Now, Thundurus is actually pretty solid here. I'm thinking actually of leading Thundurus, just because I get the Intimidate off immediately. Thundurus puts on immense pressure, especially with Thunderbolt, in case my opponent decides to lead with the Suicune, which I think he might want to. But this is a tough matchup because all my Pokemon are pretty good, so it's really coming down to figuring out what I want to bring. I mean, the Clefairy here is also nice because it can Moonblast a Sableye, which actually, you know, knocks it out or does a lot of damage. So I could definitely see myself leading with something like Clefairy Thundurus, and right now I'm actually leaning towards that, keeping the Charizard X in the back. You know, I do like that, I think. And for the last one, I'm thinking Landorus. I don't know, the Aegislash redirects, or just, you know, has Wide Guard to shut down those spread attacks. It can also just Life Orb, Flash Cannon, and Shadow Ball's entire team. If I do choose to go with this, then beating the Rotom Heat might be a bit difficult, but I've got Charizard, which he probably isn't anticipating. I mean, he's probably going to bring the Rotom Heat, though, that's the thing. But, you know what? I don't really want to go with Landorus just because Sableye can Will-O-Wisp it. I don't know what Landorus he's running. Landorus doesn't do very much against Suicune or Sylveon. I mean, it gets decent damage off, but they 2-hit KO you while you can't 2-hit KO them if you're not Earthquaking, and Suicune being as bulky as it is, you know, difficult to deal with in general. So let's see how this battle plays out. Obviously my opponent having quite the high rating here. Also curious as to whether Sableye makes an appearance or not. If it does, you know, Clefairy does not mind that, but we'll see. Looks like Kangaskhan and Sableye coming out for my opponent against Clefairy and Thundurus, as both of them have that special animation. Not a terrible matchup here. Let's see. Now, I think I'm actually going to go for the Protect with Clefairy and switch out into Aegislash. Reason being, both of his Pokemon are Pokemon that might carry Fake Out, and I just don't want to take out any damage. I mean, Aegislash here puts on a bit more offensive pressure. Even though it's a bit it's slower than Kangaskhan, obviously. It's just that his first turn, like, I don't really know what he wants to do, and having the choice specs on Thundurus, there's a chance he just, you know, goes for the Fake Out or the Double Edge. So I'm just gonna try to avoid getting faked out this first turn and taking any damage, really. But oh wow, he actually went for the feint there and the Ice Punch. That was not what I was anticipating at all. Interesting move though. So I take really no damage there with Aegislash, which is great. Wasn't anticipating that, but interesting move from my opponent there. Let's see. Now I can go straight for the... I could actually Helping Hand Flash Cannon to knock out Kangaskhan. And I'm actually leaning towards that, yeah. It might not knock it out, but if he goes for a double edge onto Clefairy, he'll do enough recoil damage to himself in which I can just pick up the knockout. Yeah, I mean, interesting Feint and Ice Punch play there, especially because I could have just gone for the follow me, but hey, let's see. Yep, he's going to go for the taunt onto the Edge Slash, interesting, as he is going to go for the double edge, as expected. So, yep, doesn't knock me out there. And I think the Helping Hand Flash Cannon should be able to pick up the KO here. So Flash Cannon comes out, and yeah, I mean, with Life Orb, I'd be surprised if it didn't, as it does pick up the knockout, which is fantastic, as Kangaskhan is one of the bigger threats to the team. So we go up 4-3, but of course I am taunted with the Edge Slash, and I've taken a fair amount of damage with the Clefairy as well, but hey, I knocked out Kangaskhan, and that was one Pokemon that neither Thundurus or Charizard wanted to deal with, as I think Sylveon's coming out here? Yep. Which is a pretty good switching by my opponent. Let's see, I've got Thundurus and Charizard in the back. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the Protect here. I've got to switch Edge Slash out. Let's see, who does my opponent have potentially in the back? Suicune maybe? Landorus, though. I would think he would have switched in Landorus here. I don't know though. Actually, I would assume he doesn't have Landorus just because he didn't bring any Pokemon with Levitate or can resist those Earthquakes. Now I'm tempted to switch into Charizard, but I'm really scared of a Foul Play going into that slot because a Foul Play and a Hyper Voice would do so much damage. So I think I'm actually just gonna bring in Thundurus, and if he KOs it, that's fine because I get to free switch him back into whatever I want, and if he doesn't KO it, then I can just switch in Charizard for free. So right now I know Charizard's more important, and I'm fine if he knocks out this Thundurus, but he's actually going to switch out Sableye, which is a good play. Let's see what his last Pokemon is. It's going to be that Rotom, which I'm really happy with just because Charizard actually matches up very nicely against my opponent's last couple of Pokemon. So I'm going to go for the Protect here. He's probably going to be launching that Hyper Voice. Yep, as expected. Let's see how much damage this does. Very strong amount. That's definitely Spexed. And by virtue of that, since I think it's Specs, I'm just going to go for the Helping Hand T-Bolt, which should knock it out. Rotom's got to go for an Overheat onto Thundurus, or maybe an HP Ice, but I think at this point he's probably going to want to knock out Clefairy, and I do think I've got myself into a pretty decent position. Because I know the Sylveon is Specs, then given that I'm running Specs Thundurus, I think I'll be able to pick up a knockout here. Unless the Rotom heats really fast and outspeeds my Thundurus and gets an Overheat off. But nope, I do get the Helping Hand T-Bolt off. Is it enough to knock out Sylveon? Oh, it falls short! But he goes for the Thunderbolt onto Thundurus. Okay. Unfortunately, though, Hyper Voice is probably going to knock me out here. Let's see. Yeah. So once again, just like, I think the episode, was it yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, with the Tyranitar being able to survive, like, the bulk of these Pokemon is just really problematic. So I'm going to bring in Charizard and Aegislash, but it's going to be a tight finish to the game, that's for sure. So let's see what we can do here. Now, he doesn't know I'm... He doesn't know I'm Charizard X yet. I mean, if I were him, what would I do here? I would probably T-Bolt Charizard. Let's see, I've got to rely on Charizard winning this one, but I've also got to be careful. I wish I kind of went for the Hyper Voice last turn, actually. But that Sylveon being able to survive that really hurt me. If I picked up the KO there, I'd feel really good about this game, but, you know, it's still far from over, that's for sure. Mega Evolve. Now, his Rotom can't really touch my Charizard, so because of that, I'm going to go Mega Evolve, just, oops. Mega Evolve, Flare Blitz into the Sylveon. And I'm actually just going to go for the Shadow Ball into Rotom Heat. Reason being, if he decides to overheat, and he's actually going to switch the the Sylveon out into Sableye, which I'm okay with, especially if Flare Blitz actually just knocks it out. But the reason why I went for the Shadow Ball as opposed to going for King's Shield is because should he choose to overheat, he's going to bring him down to -2 special attack, though I guess the Sylveon switch in makes sense now, or switch out makes sense, because now he gets the, you know, the potential to reset the decrease. Flare Blitz actually picks up the knockout onto Sableye, which is fantastic. I think Mega Charizard finally putting in a lot of work there with that knockout. What does Rotom go for? He does go for the overheat. It's going to target down the Aegislash, actually probably going to knock it out. Let's see. Yep, he does pick up the KO. However, you know, this is the play I was basically anticipating. I figured Flare Blitz could either knock out Sylveon or the Sableye, and if he overheats it, he's actually a Life Orb, interesting. By virtue of that, he might have HP Ice, which could be a bit scary, but let's see. Sylveon's going to come back out, obviously. And I'm just going to Flare Blitz into Sylveon and knock it out here. Yeah. I don't think HP Ice would even be a 2-hit KO at Charizard at -2 special attack. So, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously going to be a very close finish, but I think Charizard might be able to just clutch this game out. If I went for the King Shield last turn, obviously, it would definitely be game, but that was a risk I was willing to take because I knew the -2 would significantly hamper the Rotom Heat. The only bad thing is if I didn't pick up the knockout into Sableye, but yep, gonna get the Flare Blitz off here, taking almost no recoil damage. He's gonna go for, oh, he's got Thunder Wave, okay, hello. Oh, that makes this a bit more scary. As long as if he doesn't have HP Ice though, I think that's okay. Because, I mean, he's already done Thunder Wave and Overheat, so presumably Protect and Thunderbolt as his last two, but maybe he's got HP Ice. Though it wouldn't make any sense because he went for the Thunderbolt onto Thunderous T, though perhaps that was a misclick, I don't know. So I'll go for the Dragon Claw into Rotom Heat, and it's the moment of truth now. Yep, he just has Thunderbolt, which is really, really good news for me here. So as long as I don't get a billion full paralysis, Charizard X is going to be able to be the MVP of this game, pick up 3 KOs. Dragon Claw does successfully attack through the Thunder Wave, doesn't knock out the Rotom, but actually it's going to knock itself out from this Life Orb recoil, so we're just going to go for another one here. And it should be a good game. Really, really great match today, actually. I mean, I think that you guys see why I wanted to target down that Kangaskhan so early on, because it just threatened my entire team with neutral double edges, as a Rotom Heat actually knocks itself from Life Orb there. So, you know, finally I don't decide to just lead with Charizard X, and it pays off immediately, as it was able to pick up 3 really huge knockouts, or I guess 2, but basically knocking out the Rotom Heat at the end of the game there too. And what helped was that my opponent didn't bring Landorus or Suicune, both which, you know, give Charizard a fair amount of trouble, but I guess the rest of my team just scared him off from doing that. So ultimately, like, I think this is one of the cases where you see a support Pokemon not really pull its weight. You know, when you use support Pokemon like Amoonguss, like Clefairy, like Sableye, stuff like that, especially those that don't have any offensive pressure, for example Meowstic or Whimsicott as well, it really needs to be doing something to assist the rest of the team, as we're just going to look for another game. So that gave us 19 points, which is nice, or around 18 points. But back to my original point, like, when you use these support Pokemon, it really has to be helping its team members out, or shutting down the opponent's team, because if it doesn't, then it's just dead weight and it just sticks around. As we find Shark from Washington with a rating of 1647. And in that battle, like, Sableye really wasn't able to do much. I think my opponent definitely overextended on that first turn, trying to pick up the knockout onto Thundurus, but that is why I switched into Aegislash, because I knew it was the perfect switch in, and fortunately enough, the following turn was able to pick up the knockout onto Kangaskhan, so the helping hand really coming out from Clefairy. And despite the scare, with Thundurus there not knocking out Sylveon, ended up paying off. But let's get into the second game of today's episode. Shark with the team of Bisharp, Mawile, Rotom Heat, Sylveon, Garchomp, and Lapras. So a team that looks very VGC 2014 like, actually, other than the Sylveon, which really wasn't used in 2014 because it didn't get access to Hyper Voice back then. But you know, pretty interesting team. Looks just very offensive in general. They've got, you know, Mega Mawile, Bisharp, probably Life Orb, Garchomp, one of the more offensive Pokemon in general, but pretty bulky as well. Like, there's a good chance Bisharp has Life Orb, Sylveon has Specs, Garchomp maybe has Lumberry. Lapras is the one Pokemon I'm probably going to want to watch out for, because, of course, it does get access to, or often carries Weakness Policy, so I don't want to walk into a Weakness Policy here. That'd be really bad. But let's see. Scary team composition in general by my opponent. I don't really know what to lead with here. I kind of like Suicune, though. Something like Suicune Clefairy. Because Suicune matches up really well against really all of my opponent's team. Now, the one thing I'm scared of is the Bisharp, and I don't know, there's a chance my opponent actually leads with Bisharp. Actually, a very high chance, in my opinion. So perhaps I shouldn't go with Clefairy. I don't actually have a great answer to Bisharp in general. Maybe like something like Charizard, Suicune, but then I can walk into Garchomp. Yeah, you know what, I'll just play it safe. Clefairy, Suicune, Charizard in the back, and for the last one, I went with Aegislash. I'm not sure if that's the best call here, but the main reason why I went for it was to beat the Sylveon. Like, Sylveon is a pretty scary threat. Otherwise, Charizard X can really help out against my opponent's team. You know, one reason why I love Charizard, using Charizard X, is because you can bluff the Charizard Y, which often baits Pokemon like Rotom Heat. He's actually going to lead with Bisharp and Lapras, which is quite the solid lead here for my opponent, as I go Clefairy and Suicune. So, yeah, I mean, not the worst matchup for sure. Presumably going to go for the Iron Head into Clefairy, so I could just Tailwind protect this first turn, but he might also knock off Suicune, so I'm wondering if I should pull the switch out here. Well, Lapras itself is also quite threatening, but I think I'm just going to Tailwind and protect, yeah. Little downside here. The Aegislash switch in would have been good, but I want to knock out Bisharp before bringing in Aegislash. He goes for the knockoff of the Clefairy. Wow, I was so close to switching into Aegislash there, wanting to get rid of my my Eviolite, as he goes for the Freeze Dry onto Suicune. I should not be surprised to see that. Does a good amount of damage, but that was crit. Okay, I was gonna say, like, that was a surprising amount of damage. So I'm gonna go for the Scald, and I'm wondering if he's gonna go for the knockoff onto Clefairy again, because if he does, then I don't have any great switch-ins. I guess I'll just Scald and Moonblast the Bisharp. I might actually be able to knock it out. A burn would be really timely here, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah, wow, it's going to be able to take it relatively well, actually. Enough that another attack should be able to knock it out next turn, though. Yeah, just falls short of the knockout. But, yep, he goes for the knockoff into Clefairy instead of the Iron Head, which I'm pleased. And he's going to go for the Hydra. Oh, wow, he's really trying to get rid of that Clefairy. And still able to hang on with 39 HP, which is great. I'm guessing he's sashed based off, you know, the fact he didn't take Life Orb recoil. Kind of want to go for the Snarl here, but obviously that activates Defiant. Still have Tailwind turns though, so I'm gonna just go for the Scald and the. I'll actually protect here. I want more redirection for the future. He might protect with Bisharp. If he does, that's fine. I can just target it down the next turn, as he does. Yeah, that's why I wanted to go for the Snarl, but didn't want to make that aggressive of a prediction. So Scald obviously failing. He's going to go for the Freeze Dry into Suicune though, so good play by my opponent. And that is going to do a decent amount of damage. I don't know, my opponent's definitely got playing better than me right now. And I think it's just this Lapras that's causing me so much problems. Actually, what I can do is go for the Snarl and the Helping Hand. Yeah, that should knock out Bisharp. And I don't think he's going to want to go for the Sucker Punch because I can just follow me, though he might have gone for it. If he does, that would be slightly problematic, but let's see. And he does Sucker Punch, okay. So I walked into that one as well, but really doesn't do that much damage. And Snarl comes out here, so that should knock out the Bisharp, as it does, and decrease the Lapras' special attack, which is good. But Tailwind does expire here, which is not good. As let's see what Lapras goes for. He's going to go for another Freeze Dry, yep. Onto Suicune, how much does it do? Oh, another crit? Oh, that's lame. That does prevent me from setting up another Tailwind. Unfortunately, 2 crits from Lapras really messing my strategy up, but I mean that's what I get for playing the more defensive game with not exactly the best defensive Pokemon, I'd say. I'm wondering, should I bring in Charizard or Aegislash? I'm gonna bring in Charizard because I have one last opportunity to go for a Follow Me and Dragon Dance play. He's gonna bring in Garchomp, which I'm fine with. Presumably going to see a Rock Slide come out. You know, he doesn't know I'm Charizard X. Clefairy might be able to... No, I can't take a Rock Slide after the Eviolite drop, yeah. I could also protect and switch Clefairy out into Aegislash. And I'm leaning towards that play, mainly because I can Wide Guard the following turn. Yeah. I'm going to make this play. It puts on more pressure right now. I'm also not going to Mega Evolve because I don't want him to know I'm Charizard X. Because once he knows I'm Charizard X, he can Earthquake away. I'm definitely playing from behind right now, though. Wow, he went for the Protect? Really? So I guess maybe he was trying to see what kind of Charizard I am. Nice play there. Lapras is going to go for the Freeze Dry into the Aegislash. So if I went for the Follow Me Dragon Dance play, it would have been really good. I mean, that's the downside of pulling switches like that, but, you know, it is what it is. So here I'm gonna go for the Mega Evolution. I'm gonna Dragon Dance. Do I even need to go for Wide Guard? I actually kind of just want to attack here with Edge Slash, because he doesn't know I'm Charizard X yet. Though if he predicts me, that would be bad, obviously. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Flash Cannon onto Lapras. So, I mean, Wide Guard could have prevented flinches, though, which is why maybe I should have done it, but we'll see. And if he went for Dragon Claw Predict, that would have been really strong. But nope, he's just going to go for the Rock Slide. Yeah, I think Wide Guard would have actually been a better play there. Just to avoid any flinch chances. Hopefully no flinch here. Yeah, okay, good. But it would have avoided taking damage in general there. But hey, I get the Dragon Dance up, so I'll take that. Lapras goes for the Hydro Pump, targeting... Ooh, the Charizard doesn't knock it out? Yeah, nah. Brings me down to 51 HP. Yeah, so a Wide Guard actually would have been better there just to avoid too much damage. He flinches Edge Slash too, which is unfortunate. I'm going to protect here and just... King Shield. Yeah, because he flinched there too, like, I did not get the damage I wanted, so Wide Guard definitely would have been the better play to avoid the flinch chances. And looking back, it just would have been smarter to avoid that much damage, because now I can feint from another Hydro Pump, as opposed to if I went for the Wide Guard, you know, I'm kind of mad at myself for not going for it. Yeah, he's going to protect with Garchomp, that's fine. All Pokemon just going for the protects here. I'm trying to figure out how I can close this one out. Gonna be a difficult one, that's for sure. Also comes down to what his last Pokemon is. He goes for the Freeze Dry into Charizard. Okay, not wanting to risk the miss. Because if his last one, I can go for the Flare Blitz into the Garchomp, predicting a switch out. I'm actually leaning towards that right now. For example, if he's got Mawile in the back, I've basically got one opportunity to knock it out, and that's Flare Blitzing the Garchomp slot. And whatever switches into a Flare Blitz is going to get... Actually, if he has Rotom Heat, I guess not. He might have that. Or I could just Dragon Claw Lapras. I'm like predicting myself right now. This is tough. Alright, I'm gonna Flare Blitz Garchomp and Shadow Ball the Lapras. Oh, what? Okay, I like went way too hard into that read. But that play made 0 sense. He made it though. Rough Skin. Does he have Rocky Helmet as well? Let's see. Yeah, he actually had the Rocky Helmet. So I knocked myself out there by recoil. I really wonder what his last Pokemon is. And he went for the Rock Slide as well, wow. So if I went for the Dragon Claw there, actually things would have been really, really good. So it looks like I'm going to lose this one, unfortunately. I think the lead matchup was just really bad. I didn't have great answers to Garchomp, Lapras, and Bisharp as a combination, because normally like Landorus for Intimidate for Garchomp, or Thunderous T, but the combination of Rock Slides and whatnot is just too much. And I think I should have just went for the Dragon Claw. If I went for the Dragon Claw into Garchomp there, I actually would have had a decent shot at winning. I'm surprised my opponent went for the Protect onto Lapras, but I'm not sure if he could have survived the +1 Dragon Claw. And I was just too afraid of the Mawile switch in, but I guess sometimes, you know, you don't need to... Those predictions are too much. It's just I couldn't really see myself winning the endgame if he had Mawile there, so I went for it. Didn't pay off, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Now he's probably going to go for... well, the interesting thing here is if he Earthquakes, he's going to hit his own Lapras. I'll protect. I'll just protect King Shield here, see what he goes for. He's going to protect Garchomp. Okay. Garchomp's not really doing very much right now. I mean, it's still maybe somewhat possible to win this one, but losing the Eviolite means he knocks out the Clefairy in one hit as well. Yeah, I just did not play the lead matchup too much. I mean, the 2 crits on Suicune really messed me up too. He goes for the Hydro Pump into Clefairy. I guess I can try to catch him in a Protect EQ situation, but I'd be really surprised if he walked into it. But okay, he's gonna Protect. I guess I'll pick up the knockout onto Garchomp here, so... I don't know. I think this is one of the cases where my opponent's just making relatively obvious plays, but I'm like predicting my opponent as if he was like a world caliber player, like for example with that switch in play. You know, not entirely sure. Maybe he's just outplaying me as well. I mean, he definitely is outplaying me in terms of matchup and playing better. At least I knock out the Garchomp there, though. And I'm just wondering, had I gone for the Dragon Claw? His last Pokemon was actually Rotom Heat, so if I actually went for the Dragon Claw, I think I could have won that, won this one. It's presumably going to overheat the Aegislash and Hydro Clefairy. I guess I could still win on an overheat miss. Helping Hand. Let's see, if I follow me, or crit, I can go for the crit as well. Nah, I think I just want to Helping Hand Shadow Ball Rotom. I mean, RNG really has to be my favorite here if I want to win. But I gotta do what I gotta do. Okay, I'm gonna go for the Follow Me, actually. Gonna go for the crit play. But he protects Rotom. I should be predicting these protects, honestly. Like a Protect King Shield here would have been better. Yeah, he's gonna connect with that Hydro. That's gonna be game. Surprised he went for that. I mean, this is one of the games where my opponent basically protected with one of his 2 Pokemon every turn, and that's why it's a bit frustrating for me, but I walked right into them every turn, so well done to him, really. There's not much I can do here. So, I mean, I guess I'll King Shield, hope for a bajillion misses, but he's just got a Thunderbolt and he'll be good. Let's see. I mean, okay, let's look back at what we could have done better. First of all, keeping in Suicune and Clefairy in general was not a solid idea. Just because, you know, Bisharp matches up relatively well. Like, I felt like I was playing decently. Oh, he actually goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Nicely done there. So, I don't think it was really a misplay, but the main issue was I let him just do too much damage to Suicune, and Suicune was really important in this matchup because it beat the rest of my opponent's team. Obviously, the 2 crits really hurt me there, especially that last one when I got the Snarl off as well. But, you know, that's just part of the game, especially when you're dealing with the bulkier Pokemon. So, in terms of Pokemon choice, I actually don't think I made the wrong choices. I just think I played it incorrectly. For example, leading Clefairy and Charizard wouldn't have been too bad. Actually, I don't know. I still like my lead of Suicune and Clefairy. Like, I think the lead matchup was alright. Ultimately, what I did wrong was, first of all, not wide guarding when he went for the Rock Slide there with Garchomp, since he definitely thought I was Charizard Y. If I wide guarded, I wouldn't have taken that Rock Slide damage, would have taken a Hydro Pump, but he was already at -1, and then I could just Dragon Claw, knock out the Garchomp, and even another Hydro Pump wouldn't have KO'd me, and then Charizard X would have been able to win the game. So I think that was probably the biggest error I made. I just wanted to get the damage onto Lapras because I knew it was the 2-hit KO, but obviously the flinch messed me up there and threw me off guard. But that was my fault for trying to even go for it in the first place, and I really should have gone for wide guard there. I think that was my biggest error, and then going for the Flare Blitz onto Garchomp as well. Thinking he had maybe Sylveon or Mawile in the back, but turns out he had Rotom Heat. I mean, if he had Mawile in the back, and I mean, I basically had no way to win. So I was trying to cover for that option, but the thing is, I didn't know he had it up to that point, and actually if you look at my team composition, there's very little reason to actually bring Mawile, especially if he brought Bisharp, so it was kind of foolish for me to assume he had Mawile, and you know, he played that really well. I'm just surprised he went for the Protect on Lapras, but I mean, it's the same case with yesterday's episode, where sometimes if you're playing from behind, you need to capitalize and bank off your opponent maybe making misplays or whatnot, and ultimately I just, you know, there were a bunch of big errors I made in this game, I think. Not going for wide guard with Aegislash and trying to get the offense off. Going for the Flare Blitz onto Garchomp instead. And, you know, I was feeling the pressure at that point because I had taken way too much damage. Losing Suicune earlier on, and Aegislash not really being able to do too much. So, bunch of important lessons to take away from there, and I really feel like that was a winnable game. But made a couple of misplays here and there, and that cost me the game. But, you know, 2 great games for you guys once again today. With each one, you know, you see how much we learn from all our losses and our wins. So, at least I'm pleased to feature that, and we'll see how far we can carry this team in the last couple of days. But yeah, that is it for this episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Alright, peace.